Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and today I've got a loaded episode for you. We're going to get into a few different things, but the first thing I want to get into is the Big Ten 25-year drought, because ever since Michigan State lost, social media has been buzzing about the drought and the Big Ten not winning another national title. And ever since, I can't seem to get the image of Bruce Pearl and his Auburn team chanting SEC out of my mind after their win over Michigan in the Sweet 16. It was a moment I wanted to make fun of and call them corny and all this other stuff, but at the end, as I sat and reflected, my feelings weren't to ridicule them or call them homers. It was honestly much more about jealousy. Jealous that I knew their conference had a good chance to make up half of the Final Four. Jealous that I knew our conference's last chance was one team out of 8. Jealous because ever since Michigan State cut down the nets in 2000, the conference has been stuck in a drought that's left fans scratching their heads. Today, I want to present my 4 key reasons behind this skid: close losses, talent slash NIL, style of play, and yes, I don't normally blame them, but refereeing. First up, tough competition and close losses. Since 2000, Michigan State's win for the Big Ten has reached the national championship game 8 times, tied for the second most appearances of any conference over the past 25 years, trailing only the ACC's 11 total national championship appearances. But here's the brutal truth. They're 0-8 in those games in the conference. They're tied with is the Big East, who is 8-0. Purdue fell to UConn in 2024. Michigan lost to Villanova in 2018. Wisconsin dropped a heartbreaker to Duke in 2015. And it goes all the way back to 2002 when Indiana was beat by Maryland, who you could say is the most recent national champion in the Big Ten now, but they weren't in the Big Ten when they won it. These aren't blowouts either. 5 of these 8 losses were by single digits. Illinois, North Carolina in 2005, Wisconsin, and Duke in 2015, they both were within 5 points. The problem? The Big Ten keeps running into buzzsaws when the Big Ten never seems to have that buzzsaw team. None of these teams were the Big Ten. None of these teams the Big Ten faced were outside the top 3 in KenPom. Multiple of them were number 1 in KenPom in college basketball. How many Big Ten teams have been number 1 in KenPom during this drought? Just one. It was the Ohio State Buckeyes in 2011, which featured every starter on their team from the state of Ohio. But after reaching the Sweet 16 and falling to John Calipari and his Kentucky Wildcats, as the Buckeyes had one of their worst shooting performances of the season. Plus, 7 different Big Ten teams have appeared in those national championship games. In fact, every opponent in those title games was a number 1 seed. Think UConn, the year when Robbie Hummel said that nobody was beating them, or Florida in 2007, mid-dynasty. The Big Ten's been right there, but the competition has just been a hair too tough, or maybe they've just been a hair luckier. Next, we're going to talk about talent and NIL. The Big Ten churns out pros. Those 8 runner-up teams produce 22 NBA draft prospects, including 15 first-rounders. In fact, this year alone, the entire league will most likely send 5 or 6, possibly more. We'll see players get drafted from Big Ten teams. Solid, right? But their opponents in those national championship games had 37 NBA picks and 24 in the first round. That's a gap you cannot ignore. From 2009 to 2023, Big Ten schools landed just 7 top 10 recruits per the 24/7 rankings, and only one was a guard. Indiana's Romeo Langford in 2018. Meanwhile, studs from Big Ten backyards like Chicago's Anthony Davis, Jabari Parker, or Minnesota's Jalen Suggs bolted for Duke, Kentucky, Gonzaga. Bruce Weber, who coached Illinois to the 2005 title game, hit the nail on the head when he said, "You win in March with guards." Look at the title games, right? Villanova, Jalen Brunson, Dante DaVincione, DaVincione, Sinzo. It's not Zoe. It's Zoe. Yeah. Shredded the Big Ten team Michigan in 2018. Louisville's Russ Smith and Peyton Siva outplayed Michigan's Trey Burke in 2013. The Big Ten's had stars: Zach Edey, Cody Zeller, Victor Oladipo, but they've struggled to stockpile the elite guard talent that lights up March. It's obvious. It's obviously getting better, but you look at this year, according to KenPom, some of the best guards in the Big Ten were Dylan Harper, Desmond Claude, John Tonji, Braden Smith, Jacoby Gillespie, Bruce Thornton, and Eric Daly. I like a lot of those players, but if we're being honest, they either don't have the elite athletic talent around them they need, or the depth to spur their team forward. Why is this? NIL. When it comes, and NIL has not been around this entire time, but at least recently, when it comes to assembling a roster and playing the best players in the country, the SEC is far and away paying others and more. Certain Big Ten teams can match the SEC, but even then, the teams that are paying the most in the Big Ten are either even or on par with the worst teams in the SEC. Building a roster and culture requires the right balance of retaining key players and also bringing in missing pieces. Without proper NIL resources, that makes building a roster nearly impossible in this day and age. Reason number 3, style of play and tournament performance. The Big Ten got a reputation: physical defense first that grinds opponents down. It's big and tough, not athletic and strong. Tom Izzo once said, "We beat the out of ourselves because our league was so physical and wore down." That wins Big Ten titles. Purdue beat a number 1 seed. Michigan State's a machine, right? But it doesn't win you games in March as often as some other teams do. The NCAA tournament's a different beast. Fast-paced, guard-driven, single elimination chaos. The stats back this up. In those 8 title games, the Big Ten outshot their opponents from the field just once and out-rebounded them twice. Illinois in 2005 and Purdue in 2024 leaned on D but couldn't match the offense of North Carolina or UConn. Beyond the finals, the conference has sputtered. 26 teams from 2021 to 2023 and only 2 made the Elite 8. Purdue's collapsed to 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson in 2023. That was a killer for the conference. That was a team that could have possibly won it all. The Big Ten's gritty style might not always mesh with the tournament's wild energy. While the Big Ten has managed to get away from the style of play issues lately, the tough and big versus strong and athletic criticism, to me, it remains more than I think some people give it credit for. Not with everyone, right? Danny Wolf, Derek Queen, those were good athletic big additions, but both will most likely be gone. Finally, reason number 4, and this is the one I hate to bring up, but I think I have to bring it up. It's refereeing. Now, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you know I'm not usually one to point at fingers at the refs. Games are not played. Games are won by players, not by whistles. I think that's the way it goes. But 2 Big Ten titles make me raise my eyebrows. First, 2005 Illinois, and the second one being Wisconsin in 2015. In 2005 against North Carolina, Illinois' big man James Augustine fouled out in 9 minutes. No points, while UNC's Sean May went off for 26 and 10. Bruce Weber still hears about the officiating from fans at airports. It was that bad. Then 2015, this to me is the most egregious one. Wisconsin's up 9 on Duke with 12, maybe 11 minutes left in the game, and the refs flip the script. 8 of the next 11 fouls go against the Badgers, who were averaging just 12.5 fouls per game all season long, lowest in the nation. 9 fouls in the final 12.5 minutes. Bo Ryan was livid. It's just unfortunate that it's just unfortunate that this one had to be played out that way. Momentum swung. Duke won 68-63. I'm not saying it's conspiracy theory or anything like that. The conference, the second most title games trip, but the conference has had the second most title game trips since 2000, and they go 8 and 2 of those losses hinge on questionable officiating. Something feels off to me. Referees, not the whole story, but at least a piece of it. So what's the deal with the Big Ten's 25-year drought? It's a mix of brutal matchups, NIL issues, a style that doesn't always click in March, and yeah, some head-scratching officiating. 8 title game appearances show that the Big Ten is close, right? But something is holding us back. What do you think? Bad luck, deeper issues? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the Big Ten Huddle. We're going to be taking a commercial break real fast, and then I'll be right back. CBB Analytics isn't just another stat site, it's your ultimate destination for in-depth college basketball analysis used by fans and even the coaches. It has comprehensive stats for men's and women's basketball across Division 1 through 3, dating all the way back to 2018. From shooting percentage to game recap, CBB Analytics has it all. Try CBB Analytics for free or pay for a tier to take your basketball knowledge to the next level. Back here on the Big Ten Huddle, just a reminder that CBB Analytics has all the stats and insights you need to dominate your college hoops debates. Use code HUDDLE, HUDDLE, for $30 off your subscription. Trust me, it's worth it. All right, let's get back into this. The transfer portal is heating up, and the Big Ten is, as always, a major battleground. Today, we're predicting that 5 players will land in the Big Ten. Last time I did a video like this, I got 2 out of the 3 right, and the last one is still pending, Christoph Tilley. So we will see how accurate I am, but so far, so good. Thank you, Oscar Clough, last night. He made me right, but boy, am I scared because that dude is going to be a problem in the Big Ten. All right, let's break down the intel, explain the fits, and give my best guesses. Let's roll on to, first off, Zvonimir Ivisic, better known as Big Z. This 7'2" sophomore center from Arkansas hit the portal, and immediately all eyes turned to one place: Illinois. I even checked with my guy Sonny Verma from Locked On Illini, and he agrees that there seems to be a lean toward Illinois. You see, the twin brothers, Tomislav Ivisic is already at Illinois, and he is an Illini, and the idea of Twin Towers combos in Champaign has fans absolutely buzzing. The Illinois camp would like to make this happen too. I can see them using Big Z alongside Big T for at least stretches of the game, creating a nightmare front court with size, length, shooting, and chemistry that's tough to match. Now, Big Z's got some draft history. He's declared twice already, which means he's withdrawn twice already. So next time he enters, he's gone for good. He cannot come back after that happens. That makes this portal move huge for his college legacy. He averaged 8.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks at Arkansas. Plus, he hit 47 threes at a 37.6% clip. That is stretch big ability, fits perfectly with Brad Underwood's system, which loves versatile bigs who can shoot and pass. Pair him with Big T, and you've got a high-low game that could help dominate the Big Ten. But it's not a lock. Other schools have cash to throw around as well, and 7-footers who can shoot and pass don't grow on trees. So there's always the chance another program could swoop in, but the brother factor and Illinois' clear interest makes this my top prediction. I think Zvonimir Ivisic, Big Z, that's easier to say, lands at Illinois. Next, we've got Josh Dix, the Iowa transfer, who's currently On3's number 3 player in the On3 industry portal rankings. Boy, that son is terrible. I'll sit right here so don't mess it. The guy's visit schedule is a whirlwind. He wrapped up at Illinois, then he headed to Indiana with Xavier's Ryan Conwell. Both schools are in hot pursuit, and all indications show that his Illinois visit went really well. Dix is an elite shooter that excels at coming off screens and is a better passer than some give him credit for. And at Illinois, he'd slot in as a major piece with their open roster spots. Illinois can match his high price tag that other teams are commanding, or that he is commanding from other teams. They've got the cash and they need a shooter like him. That being said, Indiana is also a real contender here as well. They've got deep pockets and there's a personal angle. Dix played AAU with son Tucker DeVries, son of the Drake coach Darian DeVries, who recruited him hard out of high school. Dix even said back then, Coach DeVries has been loyal through it all, and I like them a lot. With Darian DeVries now at Indiana and Tucker as well, that connection feels like it could resurface. There's always the wild card of Iowa as well. The Iowa 24/7 site reports a long call between Dix and the Hawkeyes staff last Thursday. I believe it was last Thursday, they said. So a return isn't off the table. Sounds like the biggest threat to pull him out of the Big Ten, though, are Kansas and Creighton. They do have me worried, but with all three of these Big Ten teams involved and having momentum right now, I like Dix's chances to be in the Big Ten next year. If I had to make a guess, to me, it's kind of a coin flip between Illinois and Indiana, but right now I'm probably leaning toward the Hoosiers because of the money and the relationship momentum that they have. All right, let's talk next. We'll keep talking about a little bit of Illinois as not really a prediction for Illinois, but let's talk Morez Johnson, the Illinois freshman who entered the portal last week. The 6'9" big man seems to be down to a couple, maybe 3 schools with a decision expected possibly this week, maybe April 2nd or 3rd. Right now, Michigan and Ohio State are the front runners for him, and it looks like he's staying in the Big Ten. The biggest threat outside the Big Ten here does seem to be Arkansas. Coach Cal seems to be going more traditional big after moving away from Big Z. It sounds like the money from Arkansas could be below asking price, though, but Coach Cal is a big name who just got to the Sweet 16 in his first year. Cal also has a track record of getting guys to the NBA. They're pushing for a visit. So if that happens, I would probably back off my pick of either Ohio State or Michigan, but time will tell. Johnson's game is all about rebounding, tough defense. He's a high floor type of player, but he wants to expand beyond that down low role. Michigan's a great spot for that. Dusty May helped Danny Wolf's game a lot this past season. Johnson isn't Wolf by any means, but a clear example of helping expand a player's game is always helpful. Ohio State, meanwhile, has the recruiting juice and they need some front court depth, so there's an obvious need there, especially if they miss out on other targets. The buzz around college basketball right now is that the Buckeyes simply have money and they're going to spend it. Sounds like Morez is one that they are being very aggressive spending it on, but Diebler doesn't exactly have a sterling track record with developing big men, as fans roasted him. I mean, not just his fans, other fans roasted him for bringing in a 5-star duo from front court and getting little out of them in Aaron Bradshaw and Sean Stewart. It's a close call and things can shift fast in the portal, but I think Michigan's system and their ability to match Ohio State's money if they want to edges out Ohio State's pitch. Michigan also has plenty of money, so they could match, and if they do, Johnson should most likely be a Wolverine in my mind. Johnson's development focus aligns with what the Wolverines can offer. Number 4 next is Jonathan Powell, a 6'6" freshman who's got Ohio State, North Carolina, and Ole Miss in the mix. Ohio State's my pick here, though, and here's why. Powell's from Ohio, and the Buckeyes are throwing around crazy money offers. Just mentioned in the last guy, crazy money offers. They're poised to be one of the biggest spenders this cycle, and that matters in the NIL era, right? There was a Big East coach that predicted they would be anywhere from $8 to $10 million in the portal. Just absolutely insane. Powell's got a Zoom call with North Carolina on April 1st, so today, and then Ole Miss on April 2nd, but visits stop April 3rd due to the Final Four dead period. They still contact them after that time, but visits won't be going on. The dead period stretches from April 3rd to 10th to let the Final Four and National Championship marinate. If Ohio State can keep those calls from turning into trips in the next few days, They're golden, Powell's a scorer with high upside, and Ohio State needs a wing who can create. Ole Miss is a Sweet 16 team with a pitch beyond just money. North Carolina also made the tournament and offer legacy, exposure, all that stuff. But I think the hometown pool in the Buckeyes cash went out here. Finally, we've got Austin Rapp, the 6'10" Portland transfer who's visiting Wisconsin right now, or he just got done visiting Wisconsin. One of those two. The Aussie big man was WCC Freshman of the Year, averaging 13.8 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists with 79 threes at 35.2%. That's insane volume for a center, and that's why Greg Gard is targeting him to rebuild Wisconsin's front court after losing Stephen Crowell and Carter Gilmore. Rapp's a movement shooter who can stretch the floor and pass, perfect for Wisconsin's inside-out offense. He's got three years left. An early word is he's bonding well with the team in Madison. North Carolina is in the mix here too. Haven't heard a firm no on that, but Wisconsin's need and fit feel stronger to me. The Badgers need a counterpart to Nolan Winter, who's primed for a breakout, and Rapp's skill set complements him perfectly. Two other schools are pursuing the big NIL offers, and they're not major threats yet. I think Rapp sees the vision in Madison, so my prediction is that Austin Rapp will remain, or will go to Madison and be a Wisconsin Badger. There you have it. 5 transfer portal predictions for the Big Ten. The portal's wild, so things could change, but this is where I'm at based on the latest intel. What do you think? Drop your predictions in the comments. I'll pin the best comment at the top. But before we go, huge thanks to CB Analytics. Use code HUDDLE, $30 off, and stick around. We'll be heading for a quick break to hear from Home Field, and we'll be right back. See you after the break. Home Field is your go-to destination for premium collegiate apparel with a passion for comfort and a flair for vintage design. Home Field brings you gear that is comfortable and stylish. With over 150 colleges to choose from, Home Field digs deep into the archives, uncovering forgotten logos, iconic mascots, and legendary moments to create one-of-a-kind apparel. Use my code TBTH for 15% off for new customers, or use my link in the description. Back here on the Big Ten Huddle, and we're back talking actual basketball now. That's right, Michigan State wasn't the last Big Ten team standing. After all, Nebraska played in the college basketball crown last night, and they got a gritty win over Arizona State. Bobby Hurley sent his boys packing. Last night, Nebraska pulled off a wild comeback to beat Arizona State 86-78 in round 1 of the college basketball crown in Las Vegas. And this game was a tale of two halves. The first half, honestly, one to forget for the Huskers. They hadn't played in 22 days, and it showed. 8 turnovers, just 2 assists, and they trailed by 8 at the break. It was sloppy, it was rusty, and Arizona State looked like they were in control for a good amount of that game. But then the second half happened, and Nebraska flipped the script entirely, outscoring the Sun Devils 56-38 after halftime. Bryce Williams led the charge with 30 points. Dude was unstoppable. Juwan Gary added 18 as well, including some highlight reel dunks, and Connor Sejan, he woke up in the second half. He dropped 17 points all in the second half, going a perfect 7 for 7 from the floor in the second half. That's the kind of spark that Nebraska needed. The real game changer, though, was a small lineup that Coach Fred Hoiberg threw out there with Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, Sam Hoiberg, walk-on, Cale Jacobson, and Connor Sejan. Jacobson in particular was a revelation. 22 minutes off the bench. Like I said, walk-on, a plus 10 rating, 5 assists, 3 steals, and lockdown defense on Arizona State's Bashir Jihad. Hoiberg called him the player of the game, and it's hard to argue with him. The Huskers shot 51% from the field by the end of it all, turned Arizona State over, turned 16 Arizona State turnovers into 24 points, and snapped a 5-game losing streak. They're now 18-14 and moving on to face either Georgetown or Washington State on Wednesday night. Unfortunately, I didn't stay up for that one, so I need to check and see that one. Just open your app. You can look. But they'll play Wednesday night, 8:30 Central Time. What a way to kick off their postseason. Now, let's look at the other side of things because tonight USC plays Tulane in the first round at 8 p.m. Pacific time on FS1. So if you're on Eastern time like me, it'll be like 11 o'clock tonight. Jeesh. The Trojans are coming off a 16-17 season in their first full year in the Big Ten under Coach Eric Musselman. They last played on March 13th, falling 76-71 to number 20 Purdue in the Big Ten tournament. Desmond Claude's been their go-to guy, averaging 16.3 points per game, and Wesley Yates chips in with 14.1 as well. USC's offense is solid. They've got 117.1 offensive rating, 38th best in the NCAA per KenPom, but they've lost 9 of their last 12, so they're hungry for a reset. Got to play some defense in this one. On the other side, Tulane's 19-14 and finished 4th in the AAC. They've got a stout defense, holding opponents to 69 points per game, 31% from 3, but here's the twist. They're down 2 starters. Caleb Banks, their second leading scorer and top rebounder, and Cam Williams, their 5th leading scorer, hit the transfer portal. That leaves redshirt sophomore Rowan Brumbaugh, I believe is how you pronounce it, as the guy to watch. He's averaging 15.7 points, 4.8 assists, and 1.5 steals. He's a playmaker, but he's also hinted that this might be a financial decision for him, so his headspace could be someplace else. But honestly, most of these guys are probably doing this for the NIL, so he's probably just admitting what everybody else is thinking. USC's got the edge in experience and depth, especially if Claude and Yates get going. Tulane's defense could keep it close early, but without Banks and Williams, I think the Trojans pull away late in this one. My prediction is a 10-point win, 78-68 over Tulane. USC wins. Winner gets Colorado or Villanova on Thursday night. That game's not been played yet, so that one's not my incompetence. Could be a fun one. So what do you think the college basketball crown so far? I think it's a cool concept, honestly. 16 teams from the Big East, Big Ten, Big 12, plus some at-large bids like the AAC, Tulane as well, all battling it out in Vegas from March 31st to April 6th. Feels kind of like bowl games in football with a tournament aspect to it. So Nebraska's win last night showed there's still fight in these teams, but even if it's not NCAA tournament energy, the pace is pretty quick, which I love. No dragging it out or anything like the NIT tends to do at times. Plus, there is a cash incentive for players, and obviously that's getting some players to still remain playing in this one. But the timing is weird. Starting March 31st feels late. Most postseason vibes are fading away by now. Everybody's pretty much focused on the portal. It's almost like those spring football leagues that pop up and feel out of place. I know the Big Ten teams. I know the Big Ten teams, so I'm locked in with watching them. But honestly, I didn't watch much of Arizona State this year. They were 13-19. I gravitate more toward good basketball, which can be hard in the Big Ten sometimes. But I'll endure it all for you, making sure that I bring you the goods here. Still, there is potential there. If they tweak the schedule and keep the intensity up, this could grow into something in my mind. It could grow into something special. All right. That's it for today's episode. Nebraska's moving on. USC's gearing up for the crown game against Tulane with an intriguing start. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't have to miss a thing. I'll be back Thursday morning at 9 a.m., hopefully recording this the night before so the sun isn't it's terrible for me. But it'll post 9 a.m. Eastern time whenever I get it done, no matter what. And Nebraska's game against will be on Wednesday, so we'll be sure and recap that as well. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Enjoy the games. We'll see you soon.